India has beaten both the United States and even China to emerge as the fastest growing large economy amidst the ongoing global trade war and US tariff drama. In fact, the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, has increased India's growth projections by 20 basis points to 6.6%, up from 6.4% for 2025. Compared to India, the growth rate for United States economy is just 2%, while China is holding steady at 4.8%. Earlier, Donald Trump had called India a dead economy, but the data and the evidence proves otherwise. In fact, even the IMF now admits India's growth story has proven everyone wrong. Is that a jibe at Trump's India claims? It seems India has brushed aside any impact of Trump's tariff drama and is powering ahead to become the third biggest global economy by 2028, with Germany's growth rate for 2025 at 0.2%. India is coming for that podium, just like for most of world history when India and China combined accounted for half of the global GDP.
India will be the third largest economy soon.
IMF, the Washington headquartered financial institution, attributed the slowdown in global growth to headwinds from uncertainty and protectionism. Uncertainty due to erratic US trade policies which have left American allies confused and uncertain. Protectionism by China's curbs on rare earth minerals and materials which threaten to disrupt global manufacturing. The IMF projects world GDP growth to ease from 3.3% in 2024 to 3.2% in 2025 and 3.1% in 2026. By showcasing an upward revision for India, IMF calls India a global growth engine. It also says it's a carryover effect from the strong first quarter, which helped New Delhi more than offset any impact of US President Donald Trump's unfair and hypocritical tariffs since July on India for buying Russian oil. But Modi's India stood firm as US and NATO's trade with Russia is greater than Indian energy imports, and Modi's bold stand against Trump's tariff bullying has now been vindicated. Remember, India's GDP in June end peaked to five-quarter high of 7.8%, driven primarily by sectors as manufacturing, services, and construction. IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva praised India's bold economic and structural reforms. She adds, "I'm very big on India because of the boldness of their reforms. For example, everyone told India that digital identity on a mass scale could not be done, but India proved them wrong," unquote. Hitting out at India and Russia, Donald Trump had earlier stated a few days back that he does not care what New Delhi's dealings with Moscow are, and that the two nations can take their dead economies down together. However, it seems India has quickly adapted and shrugged off any impact of US tariffs and found other global markets. The differences between the Modi government and Trump administration, however, do not seem to be ending anytime soon. The controversy deepened further after Indian Ministry of External Affairs refuted President Trump's claims of having held a phone call with Prime Minister Modi. Trump claimed that Modi even assured him that India will reduce its purchase of Russian oil.
Say that, would you say? There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started.
Hours after Trump made these statements, MEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal clarified that there was no phone call between Modi and Trump.
To the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence of Afghanistan.
Yet Trump himself had claimed otherwise. Speaking in the White House, US President claimed, "Modi is a great man. He assured me today they will not be buying oil from Russia." Maybe that's a breaking story. It has started. You can't do it immediately. There is a little bit of process, but the process is going to be over soon, unquote. India has maintained that no one will direct its energy needs. MEA stated, "It has been our consistent priority to safeguard the interests of the Indian consumer in a volatile energy scenario. Our import policies are guided entirely by this objective." The government highlighted that ensuring stable energy prices and securing supplies were the twin objectives of India's energy policy and stressed that decisions were guided accordingly. But one thing which also stood out in the MEA statement was the fact that it claims the current US administration under Trump is pushing for a deeper energy alliance with India. MEA added, "Where the US is concerned, we have for many years sought to expand our energy procurement. This has steadily progressed in the last decade. The current administration has shown interest in deepening energy cooperation with India. Discussions are ongoing." The controversy escalated as a former US ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel, blamed Donald Trump for sabotaging ties with India out of ego and money from Pakistan. Rahm Emanuel stresses India could have acted as a major counterweight for the US against China, but President Trump threw it all away.
The President of the United States has literally thrown away 40 years.
The former diplomat added, he threw it all away because Modi would not say that President deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for the ceasefire that he or Modi worked out, unquote. So India is growing the fastest in the world and standing strong on oil imports even as the US-China trade war has escalated into an all-out conflict. President Trump himself confirmed that the US is in the midst of a trade war with China.
At that meeting, are we in for a sustained trade war with China?
Trump added, "We have 100% tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being nothing." This after China or Beijing also announced massive restrictions on rare earth exports to the US, threatening US manufacturing and defense capabilities. China holds 90% monopoly in rare earths and the US needs them desperately. For example, a single US F-35 jet has nearly 418 kilograms of rare earth minerals or materials. A US Virginia-class submarine has 4,600 kilograms of rare earth materials, all of which come from China. No rare earths means no US defense manufacturing, let alone the impact on industries like electric vehicles, smartphones, wind turbines, green energy transition, etc. Basically, all modern day tech. China itself produces almost 70% of rare earths and processes nearly 90% of the world's rare earth elements. Now, depending on which data you look at, China is by far the biggest producer of rare earths, while Vietnam, India, Brazil, Russia, Myanmar, and US make up the other positions. A Chinese Commerce Ministry spokesperson stated, "China's position is consistent. If there's a fight, we will fight to the end. If there's a talk, the door is open." This is where India comes to play an important role. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent revealed on the 15th of October that Washington expects support from its allies and friends, including India, to counter China now.
Speaking with our European allies, with Australia, with Canada, with India.
But given the unfair Trump tariffs aimed to curb India's growth, should the US really expect help from New Delhi now? Finance Minister Sitharaman even cancelled her US visit for IMF and World Bank meetings due to differences over tariffs with the US. The United States now calls it China versus the world, Scott Bessent added. "We have already been in touch with the allies. We will be meeting with them this week, and I expect that we will get substantial support from the Europeans, from the Indians, from the democracies in Asia. This is a global problem, and I think our global allies will follow us on this," unquote. For India, it's a really tightrope to walk on. On one hand, the world cannot be held hostage by a monopolistic hold by China over rare earths. And on the other hand, US has imposed tariffs and actively sided with Pakistan against India. India, with sizable rare earths of its own and alliances with the likes of Myanmar, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Brazil, and Mongolia. New Delhi needs to boost its own rare earth production capabilities to maintain its position as the fastest growing global economy. Now, rare earth is like the next industrial revolution. Just like Europeans colonized the whole world due to industrial revolution, those with access to rare earths and research in AI or artificial intelligence today will lead the next stage of manufacturing and innovation. But what do you believe? Can India maintain its position as the fastest growing global economy despite the US-China trade war? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.